lovely listeners. Welcome back to another episode of DRL, where we're talking everything dating, relationships, and love. So I'm in like a weird space, I think, right now with friendship, because maybe this is an Aquarian trait and people tell me that it is. But when I'm intensely working on something, I literally can't have a life, to the point where I don't answer my phone. And maybe that's because I'm a horrible multitasker. Like, I literally, when I'm working on something, I can't text. I can't be on Instagram. I can't answer my phone. Like, I really just have to like be away. So I just want to apologize to my friends that dislike me right now. Marwa, I know you're listening and I'm sorry. So today I have with me somebody that I actually went to junior high and high school with, right?
High school.
Just high school? You didn't go to Northview?
High school. No, I went to Olson.
Oh, okay.
North Minneapolis.
Anyway, his name is Greg, and he's in from California today.
Hey.
How you doing, Mr. LA?
I'm doing good. I flew all the way out here from Los Angeles just to be on your podcast.
Seriously? You weren't already going to be here for something?
Kinda.
Oh, okay.
It was like a 50-50 thing. I was coming to see friends, but I'm like, we had talked about doing the podcast.
Yeah. Nice. Well, thank you for coming. I feel special now.
Absolutely. I always listen to you. So it's like, it would be awesome. I always envision, like, I want to be on the podcast one day.
That's dope. What have you done in New York thus far since you've been here?
I've only been here for 24 hours now. I was up till 6 a.m. That's like a New York thing, right? Everything stays open late. And we went out and went to a couple of lounges, bars.
Which one did you go to?
I have no idea. I was just following my friend Brandon. I let him lead the way. So it was fun. Had a couple old fashions. I know we're drinking an old fashioned right now, but
I learned how to make old fashions, even with the fancy orange peel and all. Yeah, so that's what we're drinking today.
So with LA, everything shuts down at like 1:32.
Which is so surprising because it's like a big city.
Very big city. So I'm used to that. So, here when I'm out till 3, 4, 5, I'm like tired, sleepy. I think I fell asleep like 3 times between 2 and 6.
Like while you guys were out?
Yeah, as we're transitioning from spot to spot.
So you're in the Uber knocked out?
I'm knocked out every single time.
The first time I came to New York when I was like 19, we went to a club. And I've never really been like a club person. And all my friends were just like having the best time. And I'm a person that likes to sleep. Like I like my sleep. Like I like to generally be in bed by like 11:30 at the very latest.
Absolutely.
So at some point, and I've always been like that. So at some point I just like sat down on this couch and I was knocked out until the club like closed and they were like, we have to go. And I was like, oh, probably a very dangerous thing to do. But like, yeah, I need my sleep.
Yeah, I got this infamous picture with my friends where we're at VIP and I'm on the couch just laid out, like bed laid out, like I'm laid out on the couch in the club, all this music going on.
Right.
And I'm peacefully asleep. Like it was 3:00. I'm asleep by that time in LA. So.
When I'm ready to be out, I'm out. And by out, I mean sleep.
I can sleep anywhere.
So did you meet anybody last night? First of all, are you single?
Yes, I am single.
Okay. Did you meet anybody cool while you were out?
Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm here just to hang out. Like I'm not in that space of just randomly meeting people at this point at this stage of my life. So
where are you in your dating right now?
So just a little backdrop. I got out of a long-term relationship, I would say. It was 2.5 years. Mm-hmm. That happened 6-7 months ago.
Okay.
Ended pretty rough. And so since then I've just kind of been being single, trying to understand what happened, trying to heal and recover. In the process, I've met some pretty cool people, but I think I've been pretty transparent with them. I think for me, it just takes time. I think with certain people, like some people can get back on the stage and start dating and like nothing happened. But for me, I've realized that I have very strong attachment when it comes to situations or long-term relationships. So I've only been in 2 relationships. They've both been long-term, almost 7 years.
7 years?
Yeah, in college or
so basically all your life.
No, so
7 years under 30 is a long time.
Let's break it down. So from 17 to 24, high school sweetheart, relationship 7 years.
Okay,
met her at Osseo.
Wait, who was this? Do I know this person?
We can't name drop.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably do know her. She was a swimmer. I don't know.
She was black?
Yeah, she was black.
Okay, I'm like, black swimmers.
Black swimmer at ICO.
It'll come to me. It'll come to me.
I'll tell you. But I was with her. We both went to the University of Minnesota.
Shout out to the U. Go first.
Go first. Whoop, whoop. Yeah, so we were together. We were together for a long time.
So all of college.
7 years. We had a couple breakups, small breakups.
Okay.
All in all.
Because I think you need some breaks in college.
Yeah, we both did. We both did. But all in all, like, we were together for 7 years. I even think at my age now, it's like a fifth of my life.
Yeah, it is.
Fourth of my life.
So why did you guys break up?
Just because we were young and we went through so much. I mean, we went through college. Like I cheated, she cheated, and it was just, a lot had happened. So by the time we were both 24, we were both out of college. I was in corporate, she was in corporate. And a couple of things happened, and it was just like, you know what? Like, we've been through so much. And we knew at that point, like, she was the only girl that I ever been with. And
right.
So I kind of needed to spread my wings. She also did do the same. But it was hard for me. That was like a very hard time for me. It took like a whole year to kind of get over that situation.
7 years, yeah.
Yeah, because again, like, when I'm attached to someone, like, I'm a committed person. Like,
right.
when I love someone, it's hard for me to detach from that person.
Right.
It just is. Like, it takes a long time. Thinking about the person all the time still. Can't attach to someone else until I'm like fully over that situation.
Right.
And the big reason why I moved to Los Angeles, because, I was still in Minnesota at that time. The big reason I moved to Los Angeles is because of that breakup.
Just to get away?
I needed to get
like fresh
completely
start?
away, yeah. Because I was hurting. I was hurting for a full entire year. So we broke up like March 2009.
Right.
I ended up leaving March 2010 to go to LA.
I always wonder how men sort of deal with breakups, because it always seems like breakups happen like this. Like, in the beginning, a woman is like the one that seems more distraught, and then after a while she gets over it. And initially it seems like a man is like, oh, okay, fine, great, I moved on, now I could do what I want to do. Mm-hmm. And then months later, that's when the grieving process starts for them.
No, it clicked right away. It was tough for me. Before we had broken up, like, I knew what was happening, and it was like I was trying to do whatever it took to keep the relationship. And I remember I went out of desperation. I went out and got an engagement ring.
When you knew that you guys were already going to break up?
Yeah, I went to Rosedale. I don't know if you know Rosedale.
Yes, Rosedale Mall. You're bringing me back to Minnesota.
I went to Rosedale. I went to Kay's Jewelers. I'll never forget it, and it was a ring. Went and seen it. It was like rose gold ring. And I'm like, I need to do whatever it takes. Like, I'm going to take it to this extent. So I went and got the ring, and I never presented it to her, but we ended up having a conversation like, look, I just want to let you know I got a ring because I really want this to work out, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And she was like, please don't do that. Like,
oh, ouch.
Everything. Yeah, it's just like, don't do that. That's not going to save this. Like, just too much has happened, and I was just like, ow. So the bad part was like 2 weeks later, I had to go back up to Rosedale
and return that ring.
Return the ring. And like, as whoever the representative was, bless their heart, as I'm returning it, like, what do you say? It's like, I got to return this ring. She's just like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like,
yeah.
I don't want to go into too much detail, but it's just like, So, yeah, that happened. I went and got an engagement ring. And I wanted to take
Did you get the engagement ring to save the relationship, or because you believed she was the person you were supposed to be with?
I feel like she was the one. Like, she was family. Like, to me, when you're with someone like that, she was family to me. I was heavily ingrained with her family. She was heavily ingrained in my family. Like, that's a family member to me. So when the thought of like not being together anymore and her not being in my life, I was just like, no, I couldn't accept that.
Right.
Couldn't accept that. Like, that's just like, it's like a death of a family member when you break up with someone, It's like not having your mother, your father around. Like, I love her just as much as I loved anybody else, when it came to family. So that was tough. It was tough to realize that person was no longer going to be there. And that's what I struggled with. Like, and it turned into depression and all kind of stuff. So
now, would you ever, do you stay in contact with your exes? Like, do you believe in like, okay, so we're not together romantically, but that doesn't mean you have to be out of my life or like a death. It just means you play a different role now in my life.
Yeah, well, our agreement that we had to come to terms with was that we were going to stop talking completely. Like, it was a complete cutoff. Like, that was the only way she was going to get over the situation. And it was the only way I was going to get over the situation. So I remember us talking vividly. I remember that conversation was like, after this, like, it's just, delete my number. I delete your number.
Damn. Oh, that's the worst. That's like cold turkey, rip the Band-Aid off.
And that was the very last time I talked to her.
Dang.
That was the very last time after being with her for 7 years.
So you have not spoken at all since?
Not since.
Not even like a happy birthday, Merry Christmas?
2009 was the last time I talked to her. And
have you thought about reaching out? I mean, just not on some not on anything romantic, just like now that you're over it and now that you've moved on from that, aren't you curious just to see like how she's doing?
Over the years, I've done some Facebook stalking. So.
Are you guys friends on Facebook? Or you just?
No, we're not. We're not on Facebook.
Wow.
Over the years,
is she like married or anything?
So she ended up getting married.
Okay,
I don't know if she's still married. She probably is. She ended up getting married, has a couple of kids, and so so she moved on. Like a year and a half later, like I think she ended up meeting someone, and like 2 years later, she was married. And it took me a year just to get over the situation.
Right. You're like, how you married already?
I wasn't dating I didn't date anyone for a whole year. I was 24, 25 at that time. I didn't date. Like I didn't even go on dates for an entire year. I just had to, I couldn't.
And this is like right after college.
Right after college. Like
when you should be out there like.
My prime. I moved out to Los Angeles and I was still kind of in that cocoon. Like I got it. So it took a lot to get me out of that. But
so how did you?
So I processed it.
How did you finally get out of it? Like, do you remember when the turning point was and how that happened? And was there anything in particular that you did to sort of speed the process up as much as you could?
Well, moving was the big thing that got me out of that, because back in Minnesota, it was just so many memories, like too many memories. We shared a lot of the same friends, and it was just so I had to move. Like I moved. I remember I packed all my stuff up into my car and I drove 32 hours.
Wow, by yourself?
By myself, yeah. It was 2 16-hour days. So 16 hours to Denver, then another 16 hours, and got me to Los Angeles. And
wow.
So lived on somebody's couch for 6 months. One of my good friends from Osseo, I don't know if you remember Duran.
Yeah.
Slept on his couch for 6 months as I got on my feet. But just going through that process, it took my mind off of the relationship, because now I was so focused on making it. Like I had to make it in this big city that I didn't know anyone.
Right.
And that was like the process. That was a healing process that helped me kind of detach myself from that. And then I eventually just got back to being single and seeing what's out there.
So how was dating when you first started off dating in LA?
Oh, so I always talk about this. It's like you really have to get acclimated to the Los Angeles dating culture, because it's just, there's a lot of attractive people there. People come from all over the world to live there. And so it was difficult for me because people were so into that like serial dating mind frame. It's like when I like someone, like I like them, like let's just
let's just have this be me and you.
Yeah, and the dating app culture and online dating. When you mix that in there, like when you really think about online dating, it's just like everyone at a certain point has several people that they're probably talking to while they're talking to you. Mm-hmm. So they're trying to figure out like who's who. Where do I rank them? Who do I give more energy to? Because a lot of the times I would go on these dates and like the date would go great and then they'd kind of fall off like a week or two later. And I'm like, what happened? Then I start really thinking about it. It's like if you're dating multiple people, it's like your mind is all over the place. Like a double-minded person is, what is it? It's this Bible scripture. A double-minded person is lost in a lot of their ways. So with dating, you're all this person, that person, and there's a lot of double-mindedness there. And so it's just like, I never kind of operated. I can't juggle. I'm bad at juggling. I always tell women, you will not see me talking to 3 or 4 women at the same time. First of all, it's just time consuming.
Right.
It's way too time consuming. And like, you got to have those conversations. So I'm always been a transparent person. So I just don't completely cut someone off without telling them like, this is the reason why.
You're not a ghoster.
Yeah. I just don't ghost people. I just tell them like, I'll talk to them, and like those conversations are tough sometimes, no one wants to be rejected. And so it took a while. Like I was single in LA for 5 years.
Like completely? Just
single. Yeah. Like trying to figure it out. But I needed that. Like that was probably some of the happiest moments of my life, just because like I was free. I really got to understand who I was as a person. And I needed that. I needed to go through that journey of just figuring out, what do I like what means most to me? What is my purpose? Without having a significant other there that I had to report
make it about
to,
you.
That I had to accommodate. And so like I had a great time. I was very free and able to do whatever I want. I wasn't out there being like,
you weren't being a hoe.
Yeah, I wasn't on that level, but I had some fun. But it was very needed because once I was ready, I was fully ready.
Right. So during that 5 years where you took the time to, really figure yourself out, what did you come to in terms of what you were looking for and what you wanted in the future?
I really started to figure out like who I was. Like I was very business minded, very passionate about that, about being successful. And a lot of the reason why I went out to LA was like, I want to be successful. Like
I just want to be successful. I want what was it? I want the money in the cars in the clothes, and the hoes, Yeah,
I love the song references. Can't be a real podcast without a joke reference, right?
Right.
But no, I just got to learn myself. Like I really, really got to learn who I was as a person. And
in terms of like women, what had you come to?
So with women, the thing that I would get as I started dating again, it was just they would always tell me, like, I can't figure you out. Like you have all these walls up. And a lot of the reason why is because of my past and being so vulnerable and hurt. So it took a while for me. I didn't overcome that obstacle until I was halfway into the last relationship I was in. That was a big struggle. It was like, you're so closed off. Like I don't
even when you started the new relationship.
Yeah, I wasn't vulnerable. Like I didn't want to be vulnerable no more. Because the one thing I remember, I told myself after I broke up with that situation at 7 years, it was just like, I promised myself I would never put myself in this position again. As far as the level of pain that I felt from a person leaving me, I felt abandoned, and I was just like, I promised, like I would never. And by making that promise to myself, what was involved in that was like putting this big wall up. Like I've got to protect myself.
And that means you can't, that wall also blocks love.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So it's like the wall blocks pain. Yes, it does. But it also blocks a lot of love.
It does.
And so this was clearly noticeable to the girl you were with.
Yeah.
In LA.
And I struggled. Yeah. So with the one that I was in a relationship for 2.5 years, it took 6 months for me to even say, all right, we're girlfriend, boyfriend. She was on the point of like wanting to leave. Like,
I would have been done. Like month 1, I would have been like, if you don't know yet, goodbye. That's a lot of patience.
It was like, she was like, you're not claiming me. You're not committed. You're not. But I was just like, cuz like, I've got to really like know, like commitment to me is a stretch of time. Like I think even when I'm dating someone, like everyone's going to give you their best representative of themselves up front. Like you're always going to see that best person.
No, I give you the worst up front, and then we can work from there.
No, you get the best of them, and like right. There's no there's no tension, there's no arguments, there's no nothing. So you don't get to see the other part of when you guys aren't connecting and how you guys circle back to becoming cool again. And that's always been important to me. Like how do we interact?
How do you disagree?
Yeah. How we disagree. That's very important to me. And it's so important to me. Like I measure that in like, do I want to be in a relationship with you or not? Cause I've dated people where it was just like, the first argument was like, yeah, I could never do this again. We need to part ways. That happened to me recently where it was just, she was crazy. And we got in one argument and I was just like very next
Define
day,
crazy.
Oh man. Well, quickly, her story, like we dated for a month and everything was going well. And she had a child and I was like open to the child. And
how old was the child?
Like 5,
okay.
4 or 5. And it was just this one night where she just totally went, and she went ballistic. Like she just went crazy. It was just one of those nights where it was just, there was no getting along. Like, I don't know if she's just having a bad day, but, so it was kind of a situation. I'll tell it very quickly. Like we were supposed to go out and I was like, all right, let's go out. Let's go somewhere. And she was like, you know what? I'm tired. I don't really want to go anywhere. And I'm like, all right, cool. We'll watch a movie, Netflix, I'll order some food. It's like, all right, that sounds good. 15 minutes later, she's like, really? You're not going to take me out like you said you were?
What?
But I was like, yo, you just said that you wanted to. She's like, but now I changed my mind. Like, let's go out. I was like, all right, cool. So she's like getting ready, and then she's like, you know what? I don't want to get ready. Like, this is too much. Let's just stay. And I'm like, all right, like, what do you want to do? Like, tell me. I was like, I know you said you were going to go out, but like, really, should we just watch a movie? And I'm like, yeah, let's just watch a movie. She's like, oh, you're only saying that because you don't want to take me out. And I'm like, I haven't seen this side of you. Like, everything was just like an argument. It was just, everything was just not right with her. Mm-hmm. And so we ended up going out, and I was like, all right, I'm going to take you to the spot. I don't want to go to that spot. Why don't you want to go to that spot? Because I went on a date with someone, and that date didn't go very well. He called me a groupie while we were at the date. And I was like, really? He called you a groupie? Like, was it because he had a lot of money or something? And she was like, what do you mean? Like, he's calling you a groupie. Did he feel like he was entitled or something? Like he had a lot of money? She's like, well, do you only think that I talk to people that have a lot of money? Like, why would you say that? And I'm like, hold on. I'm like asking why he called you a groupie. She's like, no, that's totally disrespectful. What type of woman you think I am? You only think like, she was just taking it to another level.
Honestly, it almost sounds like she was trying to like, be like, let me.
It was intentional almost, because I'm like, why is everything turning into a thing now?
Right. That sounds like it was purposeful.
Yeah. So, I'm a person like peace. I'm like, peace. Like, let's just get over that.
Namaste.
We'll go to this other spot. Yeah. I'm like, namaste. Let's go to the downward dog. Like, let's just go somewhere else. All right. So we go somewhere else. And as we're going to somewhere else, it's like, she brought it up again. I was like, I can't believe you thought I was just after guys and their money. I'm like, I thought that was over, lady. I thought that was over. And it just became one thing after another within that next hour. Like, she was just, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but just from that interaction, it just opened up. Like, this is what I would get if I dated her long term. Like, she'll have these days. This is a glimpse of like who she is. And I'm like, I can't deal with that. And so the very next day I called her and I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, no. And it's crazy because everything was going well up until that point. But sometimes you just know you have these defining moments where you see into
who
someone,
a person like
who they
really
are.
is.
And you're like, do I want to deal with that? And that night showed me like, I don't want to deal with that.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It sounds intentional.
Yeah. And she was, and as you say that, like, she was doubtful. She was like, because, I was trying a different thing. Like, and this is the thing, like, even with LA, like, when you're dating someone, they really like you, they want to like girlfriend, boyfriend immediately. And like, to me, and this is a conversation I had with her, was like, girlfriend and boyfriend to me, since I've only been in 2 serious relationships, I put that on a very high pedestal.
Right.
I don't think a lot of people do that. They're just like, yeah, we're girlfriend, boyfriend, now we're in a relationship. And
it depends on the age.
And you grow into something great, right?
Right.
Like, when you're my girlfriend, like, we're there already. So that's why it takes me time. And I've realized that I do a little differently, and not everybody may be on the same page as me as that. That's why it takes me like a couple of months or something to get to that point.
Right.
So
that makes sense.
It's kind of lost in this space sometimes. Like, well, what am I? Why aren't you committing? Because like, you've got to figure me out, and I've got to figure you out. You don't figure each other out. And like, we all go through that honeymoon phase. We're all like,
right.
And so excited about the other person. We're talking to them 3 hours into the middle of the night when you got to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. We've been there, and I've been there, and it's just like, I know that's that moment. Like, I'm excited, but I want to know if this is going to continue to progress.
I think it's hard to figure that out if you're not giving 100% of yourself and the other person isn't either. That's kind of the piece that, okay, so if we're not together, like, let's just say me and you were talking, but we're not together and we're not exclusive and we haven't defined that. You're not going to get 100% of me. And it's not intentional, but in my mind, I'm like, well, this thing or this person is not mine yet. And I don't know what this is. So let me not put everything into that. Whereas if I'm in a relationship and if I know for sure we're working towards that, and that person's not seeing other people, I'm a little bit more apt to be like, okay, I'm going to give you 100%. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Right. But at least I can say, I've given you the 100 and you've hopefully given me the same. And that way, when it doesn't work, we know that it wasn't because we didn't give it our all. Versus if I'm giving you, 50 and you're giving me 50, you're not seeing or getting all of me. So like, that's not the full picture of me. It's just the 50% that you let in or that I was giving. And so I think that's why, like, I don't think anybody should rush into a relationship. Like, I don't think you should meet somebody and be like, let's just do this. Like, forget everything. Like, there is a certain level there's a certain amount and a certain level of things that you have to know about a person to just figure out if you're compatible and if you want to do it. But it's like you can't always like tiptoe into it, you know? Like sometimes it's like you just gotta go full force, and if it works, great. And as you become older, obviously, you know, like you don't have time to like, for me, like I don't want to test things out for a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I just frankly
I don't do that either.
I don't have time. Like I just really don't have the time. So I'm like, okay, if we vibe enough on the things that are really important to me, like the top things, then let's try it. But if we don't, like, don't waste my time and I won't waste yours.
Right.
Just a thought, food for thought.
No, I totally get that. No, I understand that. Thank you for that. I needed to hear that. Like I get both sides of the table, but it's just me just being very cautious. Now I'm very cautious just because of my last situation.
So what happened in the last situation? The 2.5 year one?
Gosh. That 2.5 one, we just had a lot of struggles. And I think
what kind of struggles?
Connection struggles. I think, you know, whenever you're dating someone, like you've got to have a lot in common, or you should have a lot in common where you guys can connect. And we didn't necessarily have a whole lot of things in common. We were both attracted to one another, and
we're both cute.
Spent a lot of time, had a lot of great times together, but there was some fundamental things. Like I'm business driven. Like I'm trying to create this business. You know, Jay-Z says, I'm not a business, I'm a businessman.
I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman.
Let me handle my business. Damn. So like, that's me. Like I want to be the next Sean Carter. So I'm like focused, and like, I need somebody that's going to support me down that path of greatness. And like, she didn't necessarily get that. And she wasn't like tapped into that at all. And so that
how did you guys meet?
Very letdown. Match.com.
Okay. And so how did the things that ended up not working, you know, like you said, like you guys just were very different in your goals probably. Were those things evident in the beginning or not?
No, they weren't. It was a progression of time. So she works for a nonprofit. She works like a 9 to 5 essentially. As I met her, I really started getting into real estate on another level. Like I was full time. And so like I'm working 7 days a week. Weekends are crazy for me. She works a 9 to 5. So weekends she's open. And so she wants to spend all this time on the weekends, but like I got to do open houses. I got to meet clients. And so like we always bumped heads when it came to weekends. And I'm like trying to make some time for her, and the time that I would make, it wasn't enough for her. Like, I want to spend a whole day with you. Well, I just opened up 5 hours of my time so we could do this and like, you know, really connect. And so it was just always that, like, you're not giving me enough time. You're not there. You're not. And like, some of it was very, very valid. Like when it comes to like my faults, like I'm feedback driven. So when someone tells me something, like I take it in honesty. Like right. I don't try to fight it saying, no. So a lot of that was valid and it was true. And, you know, I wasn't spending a lot of time on it, and it hurt the relationship because I was just so over here trying to make this great thing work. But I was just thought like, just jump on the train with me. We're doing this together. You know, you're going to benefit from this as much as I am. Like just see what I'm doing. Like, and I was continually trying to paint that picture, but it was just like, no, I need more time and you're neglecting me. And so that's where a big disconnect came with us and caused all of these arguments and all of those things of that nature. But it got to a point where, she was mentally ready to move on. And, all right, so this is the story. So she decided like, all right, let's like just end it. And I was just like, well, let's work on this. Hold on. Like,
right. Hold on. Wait.
We've invested a lot of time right now. Okay. Hold on. All right. Like, all right. I do long-term relationships, obviously. So she was like, let's end it. And so it started off like, let's just take a break. But as we took the break, you know, the very next week, she was like seeing someone else.
Oh, wow. That was a quick break.
I mean, after 2.5 years, like the very next week she started seeing, and it was somebody in her past. So it was like familiar, right? And so I'm like, yo.
You're like, wait, how long has this been going on?
Yeah. So all these questions. And I'm like, how are you able to do this? Like, we were just, you know, like.
I was just cuddled up with you.
Yeah. And I mean, she seriously just jumped in a whole nother situation the very next week. You know what I mean? And I was like, yo, I was tore up.
But maybe,
up.
Just to play devil's advocate here for a moment, maybe she really felt like she had been lacking such connection because your time was so split that she like really waited for that moment just to be like, okay, this is what I need. I just need somebody to give me like their full attention right now. I'm not saying she's right and I'm not saying she's wrong, but I think what I'm hearing from you is on one hand, you're saying that, you know, I really like to get to know a person on a deep level. I'm not the person that's like, let me date this person, let me date that person. Like, you know, I just like kind of like to keep things in line with one person, get to know that person, see where things go. But the way that your time seems to be set up right now, it's not really structured for that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like your time seems to be more structured for like, oh, okay, like I got, you know, 3 hours this Saturday. So like, let me, you know, let me holler at this girl and see if we can go to lunch real quick or do whatever real quick. Like, so I feel like at this point, you might need to define your time a little bit differently or define what you're looking for at this point a little bit differently.
Right. Yeah. So that all that happened, she started seeing someone else. I was broken up, and I'm still talking to her. I'm still communicating with her. I'm like, you know, actually trying to get the relationship back as she's seeing someone else, like position I've never been in before.
Seeing somebody like she was in a whole nother relationship, or
it wasn't they were dating. I don't know what you want to call it, but never been put in that position. Never thought I'd see myself in that position. Like I'm in a position where I'm talking to someone, trying to get them back into a situation while they're seeing someone else when we were together, like for as long as we were. Right. So it was a very different and dynamic situation to be in. But I knew that I loved her. I knew I wanted to be with her, and I was like willing to do whatever it took. And and that put me back into this down spiral of depression again. And
the similar feelings to your 7-year relationship.
It got bad. It got really bad. You know, it got to the point where I wasn't eating. You know, I had lost considerable weight. I lost like 25 pounds.
And you're already not like a big dude. I mean, like you're buff, but you're not, you know, I don't know that you have 25 pounds to lose. You know, that's all I'm saying.
So it got bad. It got so bad that my mother, you know, I was talking to my mom throughout all of this process. Like I'm just, she can hear the hurt through my voice every time we're talking. And it got so bad where she came out to Los Angeles for a week just to spend time with me because she was just like, I'm worried about my baby.
Aww. You're a mama's boy, huh?
I love my mother for that, to a certain degree. But yeah, she came all the way out, but it had got that bad. Like I was just not eating, and I just was in a very, very dark place because I just didn't know. And this is the thing that happens with me in relationships. So both serious relationships that I've been in, at the end of them, when they didn't work out, I found myself in this very dark place both times. And so I was like, I have to figure this out. Like, why is this happening? Like there's something there that I just have to figure out because I shouldn't be this down, you know, when you lose someone. You know, plenty of people break up all the time and they just manage and they move forward. And like, I'm sitting here just stuck in it and not knowing what to do. And it's affecting my life to the point where like this depression is coming about. Had
you been to therapy or have you ever?
I actually did go to therapy.
After this breakup?
Yeah, I did.
How did that go?
It was somewhat helpful because, you know, I'm releasing stuff and getting things off my chest. And that's great to be able to express myself on that level to someone. But it was what it was. Like as I was leaving these therapist sessions, like I was still feeling the way I felt. Like, you know, it didn't really move me to a point where like it was put me in this much better place. Like I was still stuck in that. And it's just based off of losing someone. And a lot of questions were there. It's like, how can you just detach from me and just move on? And like, I'm sitting here
was
just
it nothing to you? Right. Yeah. It's like I can't eat and you could just be in a whole new thing.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, just the backdrop on her past was like, she had a crazy childhood where she was moving from place to place. And like her mom and dad were like all over the place. Like they were on drugs. And so she had to live with her grandma. And she was like always so. Later, when I ended up talking to her, it started to make more sense of how she's able to like just redirect her life so easily. Right. Because like that's just what she's used to.
She's not used to a lot of stability. So it's like when one thing falls through, like you go to the next thing
like,
as
soon
as possible.
Like, yeah, and that made, you know, and as she was talking to me about that, I was like, you know what, that makes a lot of sense. But still, like it was for her to do that, like it tore me up. But so that was a 3-month time span when all that happened. And we actually reconnected. So after that 3 months, like she figured like, you know, I don't know what I was doing. Like, let's try this again. Mm-hmm. And my whole world lit up. I was like, yes, thank you. You see the light. You see the
Coming to the light.
She's coming to the light. So I was just like, beautiful. So I got to the point, like when we reconnected and we got back together, it's just like, all right, let's be serious about this. Like we went ring shopping and all kind of stuff. Like
you should have kept that ring from Rosedale Mall.
8 years later, just still have it. That was a nice ring. I think what did I pay for it? I think I put it on a credit card. It was like $3,000 or something like that. But at 24, like
right. You should have kept that ring.
Like, hey. Oh yeah, I should have kept it. But so we ended up getting back together. She ended up moving in with me. She was with me for 2 months, and the unthinkable happened.
Oh my God, what?
Unthinkable happened. She started having second thoughts again about us. And through that second thought, she decided the guy that she was dating and I was telling you about, she decided to go back to that situation. No lie.
After you guys had moved in and were ring shopping.
Yeah. And she wasn't being upfront about it. She wasn't being truthful about it. So she started seeing this person again behind my back. You know, it was bad where she was just like, you know, she was doing Lyft. So she was doing that on the side. So she'd be doing Lyft and she wasn't really doing Lyft. And so I did my investigation because, you know, you just feel certain things.
I turn into like first 48 investigator real quick if I need to.
Like something's off. Like like we all have those.
I'll get in a car and follow you.
Yeah, the intuition. Like I was just like something's wrong. Like I don't think like.
What made you think something was off?
Like, cause she said she'd be going to do Lyft and then like I'd call her and like she wouldn't get back to me till like 5 hours later. I'm like, what's taking you so long to respond back to me? Like you just
like you're not driving anybody from
typical.
LA to San Francisco.
Yeah,
like.
That's not typical. Typically when I call and you miss, if it's a missed call, like you call me back within the hour. So then it's stretching, like it's 3-4 hours and like, oh, I'm sorry, I was still driving. Like, no, you weren't. Come on, like you can't get around some of this stuff. So. Did my detective work and I ended up finding out like she wasn't really going. She wasn't doing Lyft. She was seeing.
So why do you think that she decided to even come back in those 2 months if, you know, she was still on this thing with the other guy? Like what was her explanation behind that?
And that's the thing. She was like, I really thought like when we reconnected, I really thought this is what I wanted. But, you know, as things were happening, like I was having second thoughts, like, and then like she'd tell me stuff specifically that I just won't forget. Like I felt like I have a better connection with this other person. I think like this person is actually my friend. I don't think we're friends. Like I think I built a friendship with this other person. It was just specific things, and I'm like, really? So it just says you got a better connection with this person. This person's your friend. Like you feel like this person is your friend. You can talk to everything about. You can't do that with me. Like so, I just had to sit there and just take it. Like okay, like that's how you feel, and you lied. I found out she was cheating and all of those things. So it came crashing down real fast, and she ended up moving out. And I was just the second time around, it was just like I just came to my senses. Like I just can't entertain this anymore with this person. But I just couldn't understand. So I know guys get this bad rap about we the cheaters and women. Women do the same.
It's not a sex that cheats. It's a person that, you know, feels like they can't be honest with themselves or other people in that moment.
Right. Nah, I just couldn't. I didn't understand it. I didn't do the back and forth. Like how could you just continue to go back and forth with just two different people? You know, like what's going on there? And there's a lot of instability just in that, you know, being comfortable with doing that. Cause this whole time, like there was no other person in the picture for me. Like right. You were the whole time. Like you going back and forth trying to compare the two between me and somebody else. I'm just like, I can't be. First of all, how did I get myself in this situation? Right. I'm just feeling like a complete dummy. Like how, you know, I'm successful. You know, I feel like if I'm out on the market, like I feel like I got a lot.
You do pretty well on the market.
Yeah, I think I got. So but it's just like, yo, how did I put myself in this? Like, am I valuing myself? Do I got low self-esteem? Like, why am I allowing this person to control so much?
I think what it seems like happened in both of these relationships is you were then fighting at a certain point. You weren't fighting for the person anymore, I don't think. I feel like you were maybe fighting for the feeling or to not have the drop that you have. You know what I mean? Like that, the depression that you go into.
Right.
It was almost like, I don't want to be back in that place. Like, let's do it. And that wasn't about, is this person the right person for me? Or is this somebody I want to be with long term? It was really just like, I'll do anything to not have that feeling again. So the first time you and her broke up, you remembered probably the feeling that you had 7 years ago, and you were like, I don't want that again. Like, I don't want that feeling again. I'm fighting not to have that feeling.
Yeah.
And then that's why you got back with her. And you were still like, and there's probably, a lot more clues along the way earlier than you probably saw, because you didn't want to see it, because you were like, okay, I don't ever want to get back to that place. And you're always fighting against that feeling and not for that person. And people can recognize that. They may not be able to articulate it or understand it, but like they feel it. Like they feel when you're fighting for what you're fighting for. You get what I'm saying? And so that was probably a big part of it.
Absolutely, it was a big part of it. But I learned, there's so many lessons that I learned from it. The second go around, when it comes to being a boyfriend, like I stepped everything up, and I was proud of that. Like as far as like the time, I was really like, real estate then took a back seat. Like I was allowing this relationship be in the forefront, and so showing the love, showing the affection. Took her to San Francisco, took her to Minnesota. Like just, I was on it. You know what I mean? And for the first time, like it was like I was putting a relationship first. But for one reason or another, she just didn't think that was enough. Like she thought this other person, she was still thinking about this other person. So again, the silver lining to me was like, I could do this. Like maybe not with her, but now I've been able to legitimize, like I can be a great guy within a relationship, because that was something that I was like questioning. Like when she left the first time, I was like, it was valid. Like I felt like it was valid. I felt like I wasn't doing my end. I wasn't doing enough. And for that, that's why I was clinging so hard as well. It's just like, man, I know that I dropped the ball in so many things. And I want to be able to just rectify those things. I want to prove that I can be these things. And so the second time around, I was doing these things. And so that helped me get over the situation a lot quicker the second time. Because it's like, all right, I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. And you still, so this is more a you thing now.
Right.
And the crazy part is, so we broke up and it's been 6 or 7 months, and guess what happens?
She calls you?
And now I'm starting to get in the last month, like I've gotten phone calls from her saying, I'm so sorry about everything.
No, bye, Felicia. Bye, Felicia. I hope your name is Felicia. Bye, Felicia. Like, no.
I have so much regret. I think about this all the
time. Sorry, too little, too late.
Too little, too late. So what happened to your situation? And she's like, it didn't work out. And I'm like, oh, okay. So now that situation didn't work out, and
now
clear,
you want no.
So
you can't. You can't
woman,
even entertain this.
Yeah.
Do not entertain this. Walk away and now stop answering the calls.
But as a woman, like, tell me what that's about. The psychology of that. Like, I leave you for someone else. Then as that situation materializes,
well,
and
you mentioned before just sort of like her past and her upbringing. And the lack of stability that was there. And so it only makes sense that, okay, so this thing didn't work out with this guy. What was the last thing that was familiar or good to me? Let me see if that's still a possibility. Okay, like that's not a possibility. What else is out there? And so it's just the same thing. So when she was with you and she felt like, oh, this isn't going in the way that I think it should be, she bounced back to somebody from her past. And so it's just the same thing now. She's bouncing back to somebody else from her past. But like you can't ever entertain this, because let's just say you did and things go well for a while. Like you've lost some respect there already in taking her back. And so that alone is gonna put a certain type of lens on the relationship. And the lens is one of, I can do what I want without regards for this person's feelings.
Right.
So again, let's say you do, things start to get a little, you might have a busier month at work, and, oh, you're not spending enough time with me again. Okay, let me see what's going on with dude and bounce back. Like you can't even entertain it.
Yeah, and it's there's these trust issues now. I'm in a different place now. Like I have like insecurities. I have trust issues now because of this, that I've recognized, that I've identified, and I'm almost to a point like I've embraced it. Like I understand that. So as I've dated, like I've met a really cool woman, after the breakup, but I knew that I needed this time to heal and become better. And it was unfair to her because I'm transparent. I tell it up front, like, look, I'm not ready. And it's not me running game or anything like that, but I have to, I can't go into a situation not 100%. I can't do it. And so it's like I've had a situation where I met someone that's amazing, but I can't give that person everything because I was still processing through it. I was still thinking about her like every day. And so if I'm still thinking about somebody, that's a tall tale sign that I'm not totally over the situation, even though the person did what they did. And so again, like it's that I've had this detachment issue, both situations, like it's this detachment that takes a while. And the last time it took a year, and this time it was still kind of pending, and then I've recognized that, and it's just like I'm not going to put myself in another situation with someone because it's just going to be unfair to them, and it's going to show in one way or another,
right?
Because I'm not fully there.
But okay, Greg, you haven't still told me what is it exactly that you are looking for in a woman?
What am I looking for in a woman? Just someone that's trustworthy, man. Someone that's not going to do those things. Like what I look for in a woman now.
Not what you're not looking for, but what are you looking for?
What am I looking for?
Yeah.
I've actually I know a lot of people have this long laundry list of things, but I've actually just kind of just tightened it up where it's just, I don't have, it's just someone that I connect with and I'm excited about. And I know that's like what was that? It's just, that when you're connecting with someone, they could be a janitor for all I know. Like I'm not putting certain criteria out there. Like they have to be a CEO of a company. They got to be making $100,000 a year.
They have to be happy and make you happy.
Like it really comes to like whenever I'm in front of you and you're in front of me and we're having a good time. And every day that I wake up, like I'm excited to talk to you because I feel like you provide something to my life that's better in my life. Like I enjoy actually. And it really comes down to that simple thing because as I've gotten back into the dating process and dating people, like women are so different, like two different women, totally completely things. So like when I try to have this criteria, like no one's ever going to fit perfectly into that criteria that I have. So it's just like being more open. Like I've met wonderful people that are successful. I actually went on a date with someone that is a well-known singer, and she was on.
Can you name drop?
I don't want to name drop.
Is it somebody on the radio?
I don't want to name drop.
Okay,
her, but she's part of a women's. They were really big in the 90s, so she's a little older. They were really big in the 90s. Woman group. There's 3 of them.
SWV.
No, not SWV. But you're close. But she was
Escape. Oh, there's 3 of them. In Vogue. TLC.
Who else?
Okay, I'm thinking, 90s group. So In Vogue, Escape, SWV, TLC, 90s female groups. Who am I missing?
Let's just say of those groups that you just named, she's part of one of those groups.
Oh, okay. It's not TLC. I know that. Wait, is it Chili?
We're not. Ooh, Chili.
Chili, holla at a boy.
Holla at me, Chili. I remember that music video with her and Usher. What was that? You Got It Bad.
You got it bad. That used to be my favorite Usher song. And you call right back. You got it bad. When you miss a day without your friend, your whole life's off track.
You know it.
Should we get in the studio and do a duo?
I used to be in the mirror on that song. You know how you're in the mirror and I'm doing the hand signals, my shirt off, and baby oil.
All right, Usher, I see you.
I was feeling myself. That's most important. You got to feel yourself. But yeah, so dating it's been interesting getting back out there. Like I met her. She went on tour, and so things kind of like I'm like I can't deal with someone that's on tour for like 2 months. She's like in Europe.
But I feel like, Greg, you normally I give the opposite advice to men in terms of dating. I'm like, maybe you should just try to focus on one person. But in your case, I actually think it would be a good exercise for you to date and just have that moment, right?
Yeah.
So if you go out on a date, don't think about, don't assess things in terms of the future. Don't think like, oh, like what type of fit would I be? Am I ready? Am I in a vulnerable enough place? Like, don't think like that. Just think like go out on a date, like literally get on an app, go out on a couple dates, and just with the intention of, I'm going to get to know this person today, and I'm going to take whatever comes today, and I'm going to have fun with them today and take what I can and learn. I can give what I can and learn from this person and take what I can, etc. And because I think you're maybe too focused on, what could this be and what are the obstacles that might stand in front of that, and like sort of over analyzing it. Whereas I think if you just sort of let go, like the thing that you're looking for is just going to like come to you because you have a great energy and a great spirit. Like people will be attracted to that. But I think what maybe deters that is like sort of thinking about past hurt or worrying about future unknowns. And that sorts thinking in either of those two ways sort of puts like a frantic and uncertain energy out there. And so instead of people seeing the energy of just like positivity and fun that you have, it might be overshadowed by that energy that you're taking from the past or worrying about the future. So I think literally just go out and like, don't think, like, just be like, okay, like I'm going to a meal with this person and we're going to have a good meal and a good conversation, and whatever happens. If I never see this person again, okay, that's whatever was meant to be. If I do, great. And so the next time I see this person, I'll be thinking about that day. Right. And the day that we're on, and not the past and not the future. It gets
sticky though, because these days that I've been on, as I've got back into the dating field in LA, like these women, like the moment you go on that second date, things change. It's like, all right, we're on the second date now. Like things have just heightened. What am I now? Are we taking this serious? Or we got like, these are conversations that tend to happen. So it's just like, I feel like, man, I'm being rushed into something again. And like,
But why can't you just say, then you say, okay, you're on a second date. I get that. And so a woman is like, okay, this is a second date. Like, where's this going? Because I am such a woman. Like, I am the type of woman that will be like, okay, so like, what do you want out of like a relationship? What do you want out of life? Like, not necessarily where do you see yourself going with me, but like, are we even on the same page in terms of things we want? Right. And I think your answer to that question is like, I'm at a place right now where I'm building myself, I'm building my business, and like that takes precedence for me right now. But that doesn't mean that I'm
feeling that.
But I'm not. But it does. Then they're not the one for you.
They want the usher. I'm your man.
You're my girl.
I'm gonna tell it to the wide world.
Let me sing and say. But like then they're not for you. You know what I'm saying? Like. Yeah. If I met somebody that I really liked and he told me that, I have a choice in that moment. I can either say this person is worth the uncertainty that I'm feeling right now, or they're not, right? And I can keep it moving, right? Like I don't think anybody is being disillusioned or lied to if that's your reaction. If your reaction is just here's where I'm at right now, like right now, I'm building my business. And like, I definitely want to get to know you and like date, but like, there's a certain level that I can't commit to right now. And like, I understand like you have your own wants and needs, and like, I'm not going to ever I'm not holding you back from that, but just, let's be clear on where I'm at. Now, what you shouldn't bring into it, don't do this. Don't say, also, I'm just getting over this thing and I'm really don't. It's not so important.
Transparent. Like I want somebody to know me.
But
like
I get that.
If you're going to stick around, it's because you absolutely know everything that's going on with me.
I get that. But I think right now you just need to focus. The reason I say that, because I'm the same way. I'm very much like, look, I'm going to tell you everything about me date one, and then you have the ability to choose if you like it or if you don't like it, and we can move forward or we cannot. But exactly. I think the thing that you really need to work on is being in a moment. Right. And when you start to explain the past too much, and in a new moment, you're bringing the past into the present moment, at a point where it may not be appropriate yet.
Yeah.
Because, and not only for the other person, but for the place that it might bring you to again. You know what I'm saying? Like mentally, if you're bringing up the past, like you're talking about it, you're thinking about it, it's on your mind, and it's bringing you away from the present moment. So that's the only reason I say, I'm not saying don't be upfront. That's the only reason I say, like, just live in that moment with that person for that day, and don't worry about what happened in the past or where this is going. Just be in that moment.
Yeah, and I'm getting there. Like, I've gotten back to a point where I'm just happy again, like happy in my singleness. You know, I'm focused on the things that I like to do every single day. Real estate obviously is one of them. I'm in the fraternity Kappa Alpha Psi, where I'm the guy right director, where we mentor high school students and train them for leadership and trying to get them to college. And so, like, I'm just focused on those type of things that just bring joy and happiness to me. And it's put me in this place now where I'm just like, I'm good. And it's not dependent on having a woman by my side. And I'm totally okay with that.
Good.
You know, even though,
that's great.
And I've even put that, I want a family obviously eventually, but it's just like, I think it all happens in God's time. Like, I just feel like there's this divine intervention. And I have to trust the process. I have a whole lot of faith in that the things are going to happen the way they should happen, and things are going to be all right. And by just doing that, like, it's done a ton for me where I'm just mentally, emotionally in this great place. And I'm just detaching myself from having to have because some people, they just have to have someone, right?
Yeah, like they can't survive mentally.
That's what they value in life. Like, I have to have someone. And I've gotten to a point, like, I was having this conversation with my mother the other week, was like talking about, like, I've never felt lonely. Like, I've never felt alone, or, I've never felt that. Like, I've been hurt. I've wanted someone. I've needed someone. I've yearned for someone, but I've never felt like lonely,
right,
or alone, because I have the ability to be this independent person that just, I wake up, I'm going to go do stuff that I want to do and that excite me and things of that nature. So I've never felt lonely per se, like some people have, which I'm blessed that I never felt that feeling. So it shows that the independent thing in me, it really thrives. And so, yeah, that's kind of my story.
How old are you? 33?
Age 33.
33.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a year younger than you.
Do dudes get the sort of clock ticking feeling that women around mid-30s sometimes get?
Not at all. Jay-Z just had twins. How old is Jay-Z? 48?
I mean, in terms of
I don't think that way. And like, even when I was in my 20s, I had no desire to have a kid. And I'm glad I never did in my 20s.
Do you want kids now?
Even 30. Absolutely. I want a couple of kids. Like, because I feel like I'll be a great father. Like, I just want to build something up and just try to provide the best things for them so they have an incredible life. So I do absolutely want kids. I do. But again, like, I don't feel like there's a tie clicking at all. Like, I feel like I have time. And I feel like, again, it's the faith piece. Like, you just have to have a whole lot of faith. Faith is, I forget the quote. Faith is.
Taking the first step when you can't see the whole staircase.
Look at you. There's some memes out there like that. Yeah, but I just believe in faith. So I never got on that, like, why don't I have this? And, social media can put you in that space of, like, you seeing other people and seeing where they're at. Everybody's married. I never got that feeling. Like, I'm just like, we all write our own book, and my book is this. And so I'm not looking at your book and saying, well, comparing. I'm just not doing that. Like, because I know I've been able to accomplish some incredible things. I feel like I haven't had to struggle a whole lot. I think I've been blessed in a lot of different ways. Yeah, I've had these little hiccups in relationships, but, like, at the end of the day, when I really think about it, like, really, like, I'm blessed with so many things. Like, I can't. And tomorrow, like, I can meet or be with someone that's going to be my forever. And then all of these other things are just now erased, right? So
I met this lady last night, just this random lady at the bar, and she said she randomly met her husband, and then they've been together for like 20 years, but they got married after like 2 months, and then she said something like, it's not your first that matters, it's your last. So, like, it's like we could talk about the hurt in the past and this and that, but, like, at the end of the day, like, you take the lessons from that, but what matters is your last, not you know, not what
Absolutely.
happened last, but your last.
Yeah, and even with marriages, 50% of marriages end in divorce. I was reading something where it said like second marriages, 60% of them end in divorce. I said,
Really?
what? I don't even think that's true. But I was like,
Wow.
well, this is what the statistic is saying.
Right.
So I've never even got to that level of being married and having the ceremony and having all these people invited and including everybody into this relationship that you're having, only for it not to work out. Like, so I think like look, I've been through some things, but like this could have been a whole lot worse. Like, the fact that I haven't been divorced, I don't have to deal with having a kid and not being with the person, having the co-parenting thing. And
it's a lot.
I've got friends that are struggling right now with the whole child support thing and going through the system. And I'm just like, so again, like I think my situations are small fries compared to what it really could be.
So what advice might you give to somebody who is struggling in a breakup right now and trying to get to the other side?
Again, what really helped me was just my faith and spiritually. Like I just got to a spiritual level where I was just listening to a lot of videos, TD Jakes, Devon Franklin. And these things help because it put me mentally and emotionally and spiritually into a higher place, just thinking about life and the total and what life really means. Like you always got to circle back to like, what's your purpose? Some people think their purpose is being within a relationship, and I don't know. I can't speak for that for everyone, but like I know specifically for me, like definitely, I don't think my purpose will ever be like being. It's part of life, but I think there's always a higher purpose. So it's just like trying to realign and get back to like, what is my true purpose? Like, what am I here for? What am I passionate about? And like just attacking those things. And as I was doing those things every single day, doing the things that I love and I'm passionate about, being around the people that I'm passionate about. I love my mama. She's back in Minnesota. I'll call her all the time. Like we talking, connecting, and she was just giving me so much advice. She got remarried. I was talking to her husband and he's giving me so much advice, and it just put me in a better place. So first and foremost, just knowing the people that are really there for you and connecting with them. If it takes it every single day. Because I think what happens in the world that we live in, everybody's moving at such a fast pace. So when somebody's really going through something, even though you care about them and you're sad that they're hurt through it, what do people normally do? They're like, oh, my condolences, or like, I hope you get through that, blah, blah, blah. And then they just leave it there. And then they just leave that person over there.
Right.
And maybe they check in every once in a while. But like some people, like a lot of people, like when I was going through, I needed somebody checking on me every single day. And that's what my mother did for me. She was calling me every single day, like intentionally, like helping me and working me through that. And our bond became so much stronger because of that. Because I'm like, man, she really cares. Like she wakes up and she's thinking about me first thing and she's giving me a call. And I think like when we go through things sometimes, like, even though people care about you, and I've even done it, like people that I really care about, I know they're going through something, and I'll talk to them in that moment, and then I just kind of forget about it.
Right.
And I don't circle back and check up on them, and they're really going through something. So it's and I became more mindful of that. When I know somebody's going through something, my sensitivity levels is super heightened now. It's just like, yo, I'm checking up on you. I'm gonna call you tomorrow.
And it's
whenever
so
you
important.
need me. Like,
it's so important.
Like, yeah, because
you don't know what that call means to that person, or what it's getting them through in that moment or in that day. Mm-hmm. And it could be everything. It could be nothing, but it could be everything.
It could. Yeah.
So what's going on outside relationships, like work-wise? How's that going?
Oh, work is.
Can you help me find a house?
I can find you a house. So I'm doing really well, actually. I've tapped into the higher end market of Los Angeles, so I'm selling homes.
I see you on the gram selling millions of dollars worth of homes,
and it's amazing. It really, I'm truly like blessed, and I thank God every single day for putting me in the position that I'm in, because it was a struggle. Like my very first year of real estate, an entire 12 months, I did 0 deals. I didn't make $1 off of real estate.
When you started full time, or were you doing it part time at this point?
I was doing part time, but it was pretty much full time.
I remember the last time I think that I was out in LA with a friend of mine. I don't even remember when this was. I feel like it was like maybe 2013 or 2014. And we were working at similar types of companies, like CPG companies.
I was working at Hershey's.
Yeah, and I was at General Mills, and I remember you were like, "Yeah, I'm trying to do something else," and I was like, "Same." Like
exactly. So yeah, I was working at Hershey's. I was part-time doing real estate, but like I was putting a lot of energy into real estate because I was like, this has to work. Like I want to do real estate. And my first entire year had a couple of deals fall out, and I didn't do one deal. I was just like, yo, what's going on? This is not how I planned it. But year 2, what did I do year 2? Year 2, I ended up doing 3 deals. Then I ended up going full time. Then I ended up doing 8 deals. And then like this last year, the last 12 months, I've done like 25 deals.
Damn, Greg. Okay.
So just, but you know,
he's single. No.
Yeah, but like this the evolution of that, like the maturation of that, like, but it like I always talk about it, like my Instagram, G Banks in LA. If y'all want to check my plug in my like I do a lot of motivational stuff because like I've been through a whole lot, man, and I just get it, man. And we need to be motivated, and like we're just all going to go through some hard times, and we've got to be able to push through them. Like, you know, I always talk about delayed gratification. Like we live in a world now where everything has to be instant. Like I need to have this, I need to have this. But sometimes like delayed gratification feels so much better. It just does. Like just when I think about my course of real estate, you know, to be able, like I always think about the year I did 0 deals into where I'm at now. It's just like, don't take anything for granted. You know, just understand the hard work that's involved in anything that you're trying to do. Anything great just requires a whole great deal of energy and work, right? So it's just that mentality, and I brought that work ethic to everything, even the new ventures that I'm trying to create. But it's just, yeah, It's
interesting that you talk about delayed gratification because I don't even remember where I saw it, but there was this piece about how you can determine the biggest determinant of whether children will be successful in life or not. It's a random test. But with children, you say it's a marshmallow test. So you say, I can give you 1 marshmallow now, or I can give you 2 marshmallows if you wait till later. Would you like the 1 marshmallow now or 2 marshmallows later? And that tells you a kid's thought process in terms of gratification and if they're willing to wait and work for things versus like needing it in the moment. So it's a big determinant of your future success if you have the ability to delay gratification and also understand that like not everything comes in the moment. If you have the patience to say, well, if I do X, Y, and Z in the interim, I can wait and have, you know, the fruits of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm gonna share that story.
So where can people reach you if they need to get some motivation or buy a house?
Again, I got my Instagram. It's gbanks in LA, GBANKSINLA.
Well, thank you so much for coming on today, and I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing your story.
I was too vulnerable.
No, you were not. There is no such thing. I don't even know if we're going to be able to
air this.
There is no such thing as too vulnerable.
I don't know if we're going to be able to air this. She gave me an old fashioned to try to get me to open up. I start opening up when I drink liquor.
Here, have some more.
It got me all open. Cool.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you, my lovely listeners, for tuning in today. Please let me know what you think of today's show. And you can always reach me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Tanisha Wood. Until next time, wish me love. Hello again, my lovely listeners. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of DRL. If you like the show, be sure to go on iTunes and leave a rating and also write a review. And don't forget to share with your friends and tell them all about DRL. Thank you so much for supporting.